I guess I'm the face of Brigand. We're a small micro publisher. My name's Peter Holland. For 30 years I was a school teacher, secondary school teacher, and the fact that I was a history school teacher is significant to my books. Two members of the writers group are here. One's Phil and the other is Neil. And we would meet and they'd all written books. Phil has written over 22 academic publications, and he's written 2 or 3 novels over a period of 20 years. But Neil was writing a book as well, based on his experiences having been in the army. Neil was in the parachute regiment, so he's a bit of a tough guy. But he's also had a colourful career as a film producer and a stand-up comic. The common thread was that none of us could get published. Is anyone here a publisher? Oh good, that means I can trash them. Because it's a dreadful industry. It's full of snobbery. So they can have you hanging for years, hoping that they might publish a book. And of course the most famous anecdote to support that is J.K. Rowling famously was turned down 14 or 17 times by publishers. And so I'm going to introduce you. 4 authors are, in order, Elizabeth Wilde McCormick. She's a very respected psychotherapist and a successful writer already of psychotherapy books. The second writer will be Alan Peppitt, and Alan's just retired from full-time teaching. Then we've got Philip Chew, or should I say Professor Philip Chew. Phil's been a professor of English literature at Brunel University and other universities for a number of years. And then we'll finish with Neil. He's moving around filming, but he'll have to put that down when he reads. And his book is about soldiers who have come back from Afghanistan and coping with life in London. I didn't mention my books, of course. My books are historical fiction. I'm too modest to say too much about that. Starts off with asking Elizabeth to come up.
Son who's here said to me, Mum, you're going to be a Brigand babe. So I'm very happy with being a Brigand babe, and I feel very lucky to have met you. And so that form has always intrigued me. How to write a good novel, how to make it work, and I've done loads and loads of novel writing courses. So one of the questions is, what creates change? And what can people change? And the difference between people who don't change and can change. What is it that changes? And this is what I hope to illustrate in the Dr. Max trilogy. As well as I hope it's a good yarn, because that's the other thing about a novel, that you want to turn the page, you want to keep going, you want to know what happens. It's challenging for me as a writer to see what happened between the two of them, because the other thing about these stories is the therapist also changes. Pearl is gone, but he had inferred she was dead. She was alive. Thank God, he finds himself thinking, I could have done worse. But then I've scared the living daylights out of her. Probably she'll never look at me again. She was gone.
Next up is Alan Peppitt, whose book is Killer Queen.
Yeah, thanks to Peter for the introduction, thanks to Brigand and the whole crew. This reading is from September 1997, so it's a little way back. It's when the first Ofsted started, and Kingswater School is in the middle of an Ofsted. Fire bell has just gone off. In the playground, Mr. Knight, the bad guy, was playing with his megaphone. Be quiet in the ranks, everybody! If the pupil who set off the alarm comes forward now, everyone else will be allowed to go back to lessons. The sun was shining, it was nearly break. Nobody wanted to go back inside. Knight would have to manage his expectations downwards. By the way, Mr. Kingman asked, did you do it? No, sir, said Gary. Good boy, said Mr. Kingman.
Can you hear me? Yeah, okay. Obviously, I've long been a reader, published quite a few non-fictional books, academic books. So I thought, I'm going to write a novel, and his father kind of creates this facade of being healthy, of being in control, and it breaks down, so I think I'll read that part. In spring and summer 2012, the facade put up by his parents finally came tumbling down, although in truth, his metaphor was wrong. It was less a crashing of a wall of bricks, more like the ripping apart of a set of theatrical flats, rounded face and bald pate, still managed to offer a vision of youthfulness, his skin smooth and unwrinkled, his hands like those of a much younger man. Until March, Howard, with the assistance of Jim's mother, had managed to maintain their conjuring trick. Until then, Howard still seemed to be healthy, even fit. But Jim was mistaken, misremembered. He'd only been a damn bloody child at the time.
Thank you, Phil. Well, next we've got Neil Davis.
The army kind of saved my life and it also destroyed it. And so many years I was kind of homeless, taking any drug I could. I now look back on that time as the best years of my life. You know, Spiky, leaving the mob is like falling overboard from an ocean liner. You're all alone in a big sea. You just grab anything to hang on to so as not to drown. Bleeding spot on, Sarge. What was Sprat hanging on to? Sprat? He's doing lots of drugs, you know. Descriptions like for depression and anxiety. Spiky blew out his breath. He would ring me in the middle of the night, ranting on. Anyway, I stopped answering the phone and he kills himself. Thank you.
Anyway, are there any questions that you'd like to put to our authors? And the lady asked, do we deal with agents? We've had no dealings with agents yet. We'd be quite happy to, but then we're quite happy to deal straight with the authors. Okay, that question was, how would we deal with somebody who came to us, approached us, wanting to publish their book? Well, it's really straightforward. They would submit the manuscript, it's usually a Word document, to me. So Phil and I would read it, and we've got 2 or 3 other proofreaders. And if we think it's worthy, we're happy to publish it, to be honest. We're setting up what we call the Brigand author collaboration. That's the design, the printing, the ISBN, the editing, because we're paying people, we're learning as we go. But I'm just happy to publish books at the moment. And providing the book breaks even, then there's nothing lost. Depending on the cost of the production and the price, and then Brigand and the author share the profit, subject to contract. Because yeah, you can lay a book out in all sorts of different ways. And we've learned as we've gone, Ross, actually, that we've agreed on a house style. And the format is very professional. Can I just say thank you to Ross and also to Ben Osborne, but thank you to both of them to having us here, and thank you to all of you to being a very polite and engaged audience. And and the books are for sale at discounted prices. Thank you very, very much.
Look at that. Standing ovation.